Good morning, everybody, and welcome to, I think this is our third Mortgage Coach TCA Challenge sales meeting. Third time we've done it. And we are dedicated to helping you guys improve your conversion rates. So credit pulls to loans turned in, and we're dedicated to helping you improve your profitability, which means less price exceptions. And even when you do give an exception, make it less of an exception by delivering more value at the point of sale. So Jeremy is going to be our head coach today. I'm going to hand it off in just a second to him. Before I do that, I do want to tell everyone that we have launched a new resource for the mortgage coach community. Jeremy killed it last week. It was the second time we had done this meeting. It was the third week. And Jeremy he came in prepared. He came in at level 5 energy. He broke down the numbers. So he had the numbers on the 3 salespeople that worked for him, or the 3 loan officers. And I look at that film from that, and I think it was like game film. Like, let's transcribe that hour. Let's write an article really breaking down the steps to what Jeremy's doing. And so in our LinkedIn page, there is now an article. It's a playbook on how to run a sales meeting that will improve conversion, and a sales meeting that will improve profitability. So I just want to make this as a resource to you guys, because my hope is that we have more of you doing what Jeremy's doing at the company you're at the branch that you're in, putting on these TCA a day challenges and helping loan officers elevate. It's a great time in the marketplace to do this, and now we've got a playbook. So with that said, I'm going to hand it off to Jeremy Forcier as your head coach today, and Todd and Deborah. I hope you guys all have fun, and thank you for everyone watching, and thank you for the loan officers that have participated in this challenge. Rock it out, Jeremy.
My people aren't on the call. Like, why is that? Why am I getting emails from them saying, hey, is this every week? Hey, I'm like, I don't know. I just show up and do what I'm told. So that they need a little bit more, guidance on that, which I will get to them later. That's right. I'm talking to you, Robert, Danny, and Brad. You guys are going to get some mustard, just like Deborah's wearing that shirt, which is awesome. So here's what I'd love to do today. Okay. Number one is I want to set the table with like how I would like to go over a handful of things with you. Then we'll open it up. And of course, we have Todd and Deborah here to add color and really drag out nuggets and ask better questions, because sometimes I miss better questions when I'm in charge. It is a problem. I'm actually a better student than I am a teacher, because I like listening and I don't miss things. So they're going to help me be a better coach for you all as well. And we're going to add a lot of value to loan officers here, talking about this TCA Day Challenge. So here's what I'd like to go over today. So number one is that I want you all to think of a success story you've had in the last 7 days, okay, around a TCA, a success story you've had in the last 7 days around a TCA, a scenario, a situation. Maybe you won, maybe you influenced someone, maybe you got a lead, etc. And I want to know if that success story was a one-to-one strategy, meaning was it you to consumer, or was it a one-to-many strategy? Okay, so that's the first thing that I'm going to start with here. Second is I want you all to think about, okay, right now, think about a challenge or frustration that you've had in the last 7 days. Okay, a challenge or frustration that you've had in the last 7 days, Mark. A challenge or frustration you've had in the last 7 days, right? Listen, I got plenty of them. If you guys can't think of them, I'll share 24, okay, that I've had in the last 4 hours. All right, so it's a good thing, but I want you to think about a challenge and a frustration and don't sugarcoat it, right? Sugar gives you cavities in business. All right, and we don't want cavities in business. And I can't help it, you guys. Deborah's laughing. These things come in my head and it just comes out. It's just the way it is, okay? But it's true. Sugars are the cavities, right? It's the cancer. It's not good. So I want you to think about a challenge or frustration you've had. Now, the third thing is that I want you all to ask me a question. Okay, I want you to ask me a question. Okay, so and it can be about anything. I want you to ask me a question about your business, something that's happened in the last week. And then number 4 is that I want to go over conversion versus lead generation. right? And how we're using this tool of the TCA and the TCA a day in general, and what to make sure that we're focused on. And this I added number 4 here because I had a conversation with one of my loan officers last night, and he's just all over the place, man. Like, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and this, that, and the other. And he's just focused on all the wrong stuff. All right, he's focused on all the wrong stuff because he was he was all in his feelings, as they say. Okay, it was all in his feelings. And what we have to do is we have to make sure that our mind is stronger than our emotions. All right, at work specifically, is that your mind has to be stronger than your emotions, right? Because if your mind is stronger, then you can put those feelings aside, and then you can just do what you're supposed to do, and you can get it done faster. So we're going to talk a little bit about conversion versus lead gen, and I'm going to share some stats with you on what I've been tracking. And I just did a look back for the last 6 months, and I'm going to go through what my true raw lead to conversion, and I define a conversion as pre-approved, right, or in contract or a live refinance, right? So that's a conversion to me, right? And I'll go through that, and I think the numbers will blow you away. So let's start with first and foremost success. So Tammy, what's up? Let's start with you. Give us a success last week.
Well, I was on vacation with my nephews, so that was a huge success.
Sick. That is a success.
They are just the loves of my life, my little nephews. I love them to death. They're not so little anymore. But it's amazing when you can whip these out quickly. So my success is we didn't have to be out really until about 9 o'clock. And there's a lot you can do when you wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning. And I was able to bang out like 1 or 2 TCAs, kind of make sure my team was ready for the day. So my big win was I actually won a deal while I was away. We have a deal in contract right now. Found out that I'm still not really sure what was wrong, but it was denied by their previous lender. And I was able to put the TCA together, analyze the income pretty quickly, and I submitted it into underwriting last night. We didn't get the appraisal waiver, but that's okay. So that was my big win. That's my success.
Awesome. Love it. Excellent job. So one nugget already take away for me, just so you know, we all should pay attention to this, is that notice that she said, she didn't use this word, but she had uninterrupted time, okay, to squirt mustard over everything. She had uninterrupted time to get the important stuff done. And then it was easy, right, Tammy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
wasn't really bothered for the rest of the day. I just dedicated that time, and then I got
that's win by noon in a bottle.
Yeah.
Right? Like just straight up. And I just don't want to overlook this at all because it really pisses me off. All right. And I get irritated a lot, just so you guys know. And I don't really get irritated with people so much as I do like myself, or understanding like why we do things when things are so obvious, right? So usually that's like pressure I put on myself for my irritations for the most part. And what I don't understand is that if you felt that and you were like, God, it was so great and the rest of the day was easy, and like, why the hell are we not doing that every day when we're at work? Like, why do we have to be on vacation to be super focused for an hour or 2 hours? Like, it's so strange. It's so strange to me when we say it out loud, and I'm coaching myself just as I much am helping you guys, right? Is that having that uninterrupted time is golden. Like what you can get done in that little bit of time that you set aside is a 10x activity, right? For the rest of your day and the rest of your week and your month and ultimately your year. So excellent job. Super stoked that you won that deal. By the way, that's my favorite. When I get a deal where they're like having trouble with another lender, and then you're like, I don't even know what the problem was, but I am so glad you called me, right? Like so that is the best. Excellent job. Walt, what about you, bud? Success.
For me, I've been able to identify really what my perfect client looks like.
Okay.
And it was a one-to-one strategy. Had a client that is coming into quite a bit of cash in February of next year. And he discussed, should he put it down in the mortgage? Should he not? And I used the TCA to be able to show him if he was to put it with a financial planner, what that money would look like over time. And literally how much faster he can pay off his mortgage opposed to putting it towards the mortgage. So investing the money with the financial planner over time. So it was a win-win. He works for Wells Fargo, and so he's got access to financial planners there and that. But so he knows the strategy. But it was good. And again, it was that coachable moment when, for me, it just really, again, identified my perfect client. My perfect client is the one that listens, that looks at things objectively, and then moves forward.
Cool. Awesome. Love it. So yours was a 1-to-1 so far. Tammy's was a 1-to-1 so far. So identifying your perfect client, that's great. Now, what happens when you don't have a perfect client?
I send them to you.
Awesome. I'll take them, buddy. I swear to God. Like refer them on up, man. I will take all the imperfections and the mess.
That just
But,
means you have to be licensed in Oregon, but that's okay.
I am. Hey, now send them, bud. There is no barriers to what I can do. Okay.
So, honestly, for my non-perfect client, I need to, it depends upon how non-perfect my client is.
Mm-hmm.
There's some clients that just are not a good fit. And with those clients, I need to say, for my own mental aspect, thank you, we're not a good fit. Let me refer you to somebody who may be a better fit. But other clients that might not be just a perfect fit, that aren't a mental aspect on my side, then it's more of, I need to remember to slow down with those clients.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a high D, and my second is a high C on the DISC profile. But if I'm working with an engineer, I need to remember I need to slow way down, because my D starts to come into effect. So it's just knowing who that client is and then slowing down for that client. Does that make
Cool.
sense?
No, it makes sense. I'd love to help you with this, and I think it'll be beneficial for everyone as well. Something that did not serve me well for a long time in my career was me being dismissive of people that I classified as not a good fit. Okay. And so I'm not saying you're wrong, by the way, because there is no right and wrong. All right. But what I am saying is that when you have a perfect client, yeah, of course, man, it's rainbows and unicorns, and you're like, oh my God, how do I get 50 more of these? Right. And that is what, would be a perfect business model. But what I've learned is that nothing is perfect. Right. So we have to have paths, right? Paths of working relationships with clients that come in. And this is why the TCA works so well for me, is that it will allow me to work with people that are not a perfect fit either. So I'll give you a couple examples. Okay. So for me, I can deal with smart and aggressive people. I can deal with, not, I was going to use a derogatory term, but it's not derogatory. How do I say it? I can work with not so smart people that are really open. Okay, like, and that are open to advice, or whatever it may be. But when I get not so smart and super aggressive, it is just like really difficult for me to work with, right? Like, don't want to listen to anything, they know better, they know, like that is like a hard fit. But there's like 3 paths, right, that I have with all the clients we talk to. And what I will tell you is that by having a presentation and a process with a total cost analysis integrated as basically the forefront of that process, you will still win more deals with people that you initially think might not be a good fit for you, by taking them through the process. Like, because you're a high D, some people just need a little bit more time to make a decision, right? And that's where I really went wrong, like the first decade in my career, I think, is that if they weren't speaking my language, I would discount it like right away, and I wouldn't take them through a pleasurable process, right? I think that just don't discount people too quickly. And I don't know if you are or not, but I would say that based on what you said, is that don't discount them or treat them differently just because you feel like they might not be a great fit, like an engineer right away. Like, you're a high C, bro. You can speak engineer. And you don't need to speak engineer anyway, because guess what does it for you? Does anyone know?
TCA.
Yeah, that's why I use it. I don't speak engineer, but I do now, right? It wasn't my first language, but I'm professional engineer speaker now. So just be careful in your thought process and in your mind with boxing yourself in too much, right? Now, of course, we don't want anyone ever to be disrespectful to us and our teams and be angry and be all of that stuff, but give people a chance, because I find that when I give my customers just a little bit of grace, okay, give them a little bit of a chance, is that they still will work with you a high percentage of the time, right? They just haven't seen the value yet. They don't understand. So just keep that in mind, right? When you're working on this. So excellent job. Wells Fargo, love that as well. I love that you've identified your perfect client. That's great as well. Just remember that nothing is perfect, right? Just remember that nothing is perfect ever. My life is messier than mess. All right. But it's beautiful. So don't box yourself in. All right. Todd, give me a win, bro. Last week. What's up?
No, man, I wasn't even thinking I'm on the hot seat. I like that, Jeremy. That makes me feel really good. My big I'll give a win by noon win for the week is
Great.
that Deborah Bird got one of her social media clients hooked on Win by Noon, and then he just got his 3 branches, just ordered up his 3 branches, all planners. Yesterday, we're shipping them out because Q4 is starting to ship, and I'm doing a webinar to launch them all middle or end of next week to get them going. So I'm grateful to Deborah
Love
for
it.
that. I'm super excited to get a few branches working as a team on Win by Noon.
Excellent. Love it. Love it. Awesome. What about you, Deborah?
So I had 2 really powerful calls last week with some mentors that when I first got into the mortgage business, again, I was a middle school science teacher and girls athletics coach. Like we blew shit up in the lab is what I loved doing. And we played ball all day.
Yep.
When I got into the mortgage business, my first week, I went to Sales Mastery. And this is where I met a lot of the people that are on this call today. And so last week I had a call with Bill Hart and with Todd Duncan and just some strategy conversations that we were having. And so I just felt so honored that now they're asking me for advice and I can be a part of the journey for them too.
Oh, I love it. Isn't that cool when it comes full circle?
Yes.
I love that stuff so much. You're right where you belong. That's so cool.
Hey, can I throw something in about Bill Hart real quick?
Please.
When you were talking about Tammy having that uninterrupted time,
Yep.
Bill Hart taught me the day before vacation miracle, right? So
Yes.
the whole idea that you can get so much done that day before vacation because you're so laser focused on it. And so I just think oftentimes, just like where Tammy's off and on vacation with her nephews, she's able to have that quiet morning time. I mean, just think about how you can do that on a daily basis. And that was one of those ahas for me when Bill said that is, okay, what can I do to force myself to get this stuff done today as if I'm hopping on a plane at 3:00?
That's cool. I love it. And that comes back around, right? And we've all heard this before, but it's so true, is that having that attitude of gratitude of like, it's not something I have to do, that I get to do. And as soon as we change that, like I say that constantly, I write it in my journal constantly, like I get to, like, I'm grateful because I get to help people. I get to answer all their questions. I get to, and it just changes the way you do things. And you can move so much faster when you realize that you get to do something and it's cool, rather than feeling obligated, right? Oh, I have to do this painting. Oh, I have to do, this call. Oh, I have to answer these people's questions. Like, and then you just dread it. But the I get to is just super. I don't know whoever came up with it. Who knows? Probably Jesus. So it's awesome and I love it. So Mr. Mark, what about you, bud? Give me a win. Success.
Man, there have been a lot of successes over this last week. Number one, we had a massive Clubhouse Live event in Atlanta, met hundreds of people that I've talked to for months on end, and it felt like an entire family reunion. Made so many connections there that are going to bear so many different fruits later in my career. And I guess the real win with the TCA, I finally put together movement. We came out with a new jumbo product, 10% down with no MI, worked up some details on a previous client who's looking to move up. And now I can flip that into a one-to-many, which I'm looking forward to in showing the world what we've got to offer. So that's what I got.
I love it. I love it. I just had a great idea on a video for that. The title should be why you should never do a jumbo loan with 10% down, and then in parentheses, until you talk to me. Like, I love that.
There you go.
I might steal that. That's a good one. Well, actually, I created it so I can use it, but you guys can all use it too. That's a good little marketing clickbait ploy there. Awesome. So one thing that I noticed about all of this, right, is that what was a common denominator? Anyone have a guess?
Wasn't just business.
No, that's good, but no. So the common denominator that I saw was that everyone's success involved other people. And I think that we don't think about this enough, right? We think about our success, and that was so cool, is that you guys all shared stuff, but we all need to realize that all success happens when it involves helping other people, right? And if we can just focus on that all the time, success comes easier, right? It's not about how you felt and how you looked or whatever. It was all about other people. It was about spending time on vacation with your nephews. It was about having uninterrupted time so that it could be super smooth for your team with clients. It was about identifying the perfect client and being able to show them a strategy where they can increase net worth and become free and clear faster on their house. It was about Todd being able to connect with multiple branches and having an impact on them through using Win by Noon. It was from Deborah coming full circle and going a one-to-one and one-to-many and being a mentor now to people that were mentoring her before. I could go on and on, but it all involved other people, right? And so that's so important for us to remember, is that we're going to be the most impactful always when it's about not us, when it's about serving others and helping others. So that was my big takeaway from your guys' successes. It was excellent, excellent job. So I would love to know a challenge or frustration within this TCA a day process for you in the last week. And let's start with you, Tammy. What was a challenge or frustration?
Well, the biggest challenge that I'm finding is that my team is great at teeing them up and getting the basic information in there. But then when it comes down to not knowing which products to put or how to, the closing fees, and this is a jumbo, so it's different. Well, it's a condo, so it's a little different. It's FHA, it's a little different. So, and it's not really a frustration. It's just more of a learning thing for them. But I want to get better at having them be able to do all of it. And then I can just take 2 seconds to shoot a video. So
Cool.
I'm finding that I spend a little too much time putting them together. And really, I don't spend a lot of time on these, but I'm trying to really carve out more time for myself. So that's probably my frustration surrounded by TCAs. Like I
Okay.
could go on for an hour of frustration, but that's the answer of your
Cool.
question.
That's a great answer. So let's unpack it just a little bit. So when it comes to team, right, and TCAs and product and all of that, you already answered it, right? Is that it's okay for it to be frustrating, by the way, and it's okay for it to be a challenge. Like that's usually where all good stuff happens. I'm at my best when I'm irritated, right? Because I hate pain personally. Like I will do anything to avoid pain and go towards pleasure, like as fast as I can. Like I don't like it. I don't like it. And so that's good because when I'm irritated, I want to get rid of that quickly. So it moves me into action, right? So number one is with your team and not knowing what to do and what not. Explain to me how they set something up or tee something up for you right now so that you can make an effective TCA.
So right now they either, as soon as we get a conversation or they're on my calendar for a pre-approval consult, they are importing all the information right in there. They pretty much get everything in right up to the product screen. If it's a refi, they get the mortgage statement, they get all the information in there all the way up to the product statements. I have one girl, she's getting better at realizing what the fees are. So she's being proactive and trying to put the fees in there, which is good because then it's just a quick look at them. So they're getting them teed up all the way to the product screen.
Okay. So do you have a loan application yet?
At this point, yes, we have loan up because I take a full application as early as I can in the process. Sometimes I haven't even spoken to them yet.
Okay. And who cleans up the loan application when it comes in via online?
My LP1 does.
All right, cool. And so does your LP1 know how to qualify people?
Not really. She's getting better. She tries. She knows what to look for, but she's only been with me since 4th of July. So
Cool.
in the past, she's been with me 6 weeks. She's doing fantastic for 6 weeks.
That's great. And when this comes over to you, how does it come over to you? Meaning, what does the loan partner, your LOA, tell you?
So in the calendar screen, we've got a quick, I've got the loan number so I can go into our, pull up the loan. I've got the TC, she'll tell me TCA has been done. She'll give me the credit scores. And then I would like her to be able to add what product she thinks they'll be at, but we're not quite there yet. So right now it's just the TCA is done, the credit scores and the loan number.
Cool. And are there any notes on what they're trying to accomplish?
Yeah. If there's anything, yes. If they're self-employed, or if there was something she didn't understand, or if there's like a quick story, putting in an offer today, working with so-and-so, stuff like that. So she'll have little notes in there for me.
Okay, cool. So what I find is that oftentimes when we don't have something set up the way that we want to have it set up, it's just a straight up training opportunity, right? And the easier that we can make it, the faster people will get up to speed. Like I have a gal on my team, Ashley, no experience, just graduated college, been here 7 months now. Like I just told her that everything is really easy. Like literally, like that's what I say all the time. I'm like, hey, the stuff I'm going to show you is super simple. It's super easy, right? And then guess what? They think it's easy. And you just train them on one little thing like every single week. But if someone is already cleaning up the loan application and whatnot for you, I would just do a simple little checklist of like, hey, here's how you import fees, right? And then you have the fees and they're done. Like for me, in my LOS, it's a button you press. Like, so that's really easy. If not, there's ortc.com and you enter in like a sales price and a loan amount and it gives you the fees, etc. So I think that training them on how to set up the fee part is actually really easy. Pricing, right, and product is art and science, and that is harder to train, right? Harder to train on art and science when you're doing a TCA. So I believe in show, do, show, do when I train someone. So if you want this person to get better at helping your TCAs, what you're going to have to do is have he or she sit with you and show 5 times, have them do 5 times, and then you can reconcile, right? So nothing is ever going to be perfect, just like there's not a perfect client for Walt, especially when it comes to team, but teaching them things that can be done the same way every single time is going to free up a ton of your space. Let me give you an example. So on my team, I was noticing oftentimes when we were pre-approving people and it would come over to me is that they would say, hey, pre-approved conventional, 5% down, 660 credit. As soon as I see 660 credit score, it's like, because I'm like, well, did you run it FHA? Like, did you do that? Like, did you look and see if the MI was cheaper and if the rate benefit was cheaper, right? Stuff like that. But rather than me getting frustrated and irritated all the time, then we just created a process of like, hey, whenever you see a sub 680 FICO, I'd like you to run it FHA and conventional. And let's look at the mortgage insurance rates, right? And see if they're different. That way, when they're building out the TCAs for you, there'll be multiple options and you can use your strategy templates for that as well, right? So it'll be really, really easy for them to do that. So pick just a couple things that you think are easy and then let her know that, hey, I'm going to show you some really easy stuff that's going to make your job easier setting these up. And then whenever something pops up, it's just a training opportunity once again, right? So excellent job though. I mean, I don't have my team. I wrote down I need to have my team start setting up my TCAs. I don't know why I do them all still, but I do. But that is a great, great, great takeaway. So what about you, Walt? Challenge, frustration?
So after last week, after being Mr. Mustard and, not enough ketchup or too much ketchup, no mustard.
Too much excuses. Let's be clear. Ketchup is excuses. Okay. I didn't say it last week, but that's what it is.
Understand.
All right.
So, so this week, my frustration was I now dream about TCAs every night. And I start thinking that I can't sleep like when I get to bed. So I start thinking, oh, I need to do a TCA for this client. I need to do one for this client. So that's it.
Okay. So why do you feel anxiety around having to create a presentation for someone?
I don't feel anxiety around
Yeah,
it.
you do.
I
That's what
feel,
anxiety is, just so you know. Like I'm thinking about this over and over. I need to do
Yeah.
this. Like that's anxiety. Some people
so I don't
say
know, man.
I'm excited. Some people might say I'm excited. Okay, but whenever I hear the word excited, I know that excited has a Siamese twin that's anxiety. Like think about any time that you say in your life, like, oh dude, I'm so excited about that. Let's say it was a big financial planner, right? And you're like, you get a chance to present for them. The first thing we always say is, oh, I'm so excited about this. I know as soon as I say that, what I'm really saying is, I'm nervous as hell. But I don't say that. I say I'm excited because I want to move towards it, right? So we have to ask ourselves and stop sometimes of like, is this bringing me positive energy that I want to move towards? Or do I have a little bit of anxiety that I'm missing out on something, right? That I'm going to miss an opportunity. And that mind shift will help you. The easiest way for me when I'm feeling that, because it's not like I don't, man. I went to bed super late last night. I couldn't sleep and turn my mind off either, is that I will get it out of my mind instantly. So if I'm feeling that way, I will stop and I will write down or shoot myself an email like I did last night at 11:53 p.m. I said, buy Harry Styles tickets for my daughter. Don't forget, because I was thinking about that because she asked me for that, right? It could be TCAs, it could be anything, but get it out, right? Get it out of the mind. Because remember, I said earlier that our mind has to be stronger than our feelings. When we're thinking about stuff over and over again, that's our feelings, like the feeling of missing out on something, of messing up, of whatever it may be. And we have to get outside of that a little bit. So we want to brain dump it a little bit and have less subconscious anxiety about it and know that we're just going to get it done. Part two to this, Walt, that will help you is that why not just have booked in your calendar, to go back to what Tammy shared, like 30 minutes in the morning of your day, maybe depending on when you start, maybe that's 8 a.m., maybe it's 8:30, maybe it's 9 to 9:30, having a 30-minute segment of like, what TCAs do I need to do today? Right. So I find that when I have things on my calendar, I just do them and I don't have to think about them. Right. I just do them and I don't have to think about them. So what type of stuff are you thinking about, like TCA wise, that you're not doing that you want to do?
Oh, just the TCAs that I need to do, tomorrow. and this challenge has brought it forth that, I got to make sure I'm doing a TCA every day. So, and maybe that's a little bit of anxiety on my side that, I'm putting that pressure of, okay, I've got it, because I don't want to be like last week, honestly, of not having TCAs done every day. I don't want you asking me, hey, did you do a TCA every day? And I have to answer no, or I lie, which I'm not going to lie to you. So, so this week I made sure I did a TCA every day, and I've done a bunch of TCAs. And so maybe it's just a little anxiety on my side on pressure I put on myself.
Well, pressure and anxiety are two different things. Okay. So let me unpackage just a little bit too, because I love pressure, hate anxiety. Right. So anxiety is not pressure, in my opinion. Right. Pressure is you wanting to win. And I love pressure, man. Like I put massive pressure on myself, right? Like massive. And when I fail, I fail. I don't cry about it. I don't have anxiety about it. I lose sometimes, but pressure will help you for sure, but anxiety won't. So what you have to do is create really simple processes to make sure that you are fulfilling the pressure that you're putting on yourself. So let me give you guys all a really simple way to do a TCA a day forever. How about that? Rather than just over a 7-day time frame. Okay, Mondays I call realtors. So who should I make a TCA for on a Monday?
Realtor.
There you go. Cool. Tuesdays I do client status update calls. Who should I make a TCA for on a Tuesday?
Current clients.
Boom. Wednesday, I do pre-approvals. I call people, reach out to people that haven't bought a house yet in the last 3 months. Who should I make a TCA for on Wednesdays?
At least update the pre-approvals. That's what I do.
Make a TCA, make one TCA for someone who's pre-approved. Okay. Thursdays, past clients, annual reviews. Who should I do a TCA for on a Thursday?
Past clients.
Thank you. I will sit here silent until people answer, even though you guys know that I gave you the answer. Okay. Fridays, I do VIPs. Who should I do a TCA for on Fridays?
Yeah, peace.
Dude, done. You can do a TCA a day every day for the rest of your life. That can remove all anxiety about, am I going to do one? Who am I going to do one for? That's it. Keep it super, super simple. Have a theme for the day. Send a total cost analysis out for that theme. You will never, ever, ever miss a day if you do that.
I
Okay.
do thank you cards like that too. I'm going to do TCAs like that now.
That's it. Make it easy. We all make it so hard. Who should we be making them for? What should I be saying in it? Do I look fat today? Like, none of that matters. Like, just pick a theme, make one, execute on it. So I think that'll help you a lot there, Walt. Get the stuff out of your mind at night. If you're feeling it, just dump it, and then have a process in place so that you don't have to think, because thinking is the enemy. We already know what we need to do, right? So I appreciate you being so honest. That's awesome. All right, I'm skipping Deborah and Todd here. Mark, what about you, bud?
Man, that was just so powerful. Before we jump into it, that was insane, man. So we're talking about what our challenge is.
Yep.
My biggest challenge is time and capacity. I'm a big advocate, and I know full well that when you plan trips, all of a sudden everything is a priority and it just gets done. And I have purposely set up a trip a month, at least one trip per month over the last 2 months, and I basically have it going on the rest of the year. And so it's allowed me to be laser focused, but I know that I'm dropping balls, and the reason for that is not having enough support already within me to be able to handle the current clients and the current workload, and then to be able to actually go to where I want to be. I know I need not only this next person, but I need the next person on deck. So I think those would be my biggest things.
Cool. So number one is how many leads are you generating per month right now?
Right now, we're probably leads or applications.
Leads, and you can't use the word probably.
I do not have the numbers for you right now, but I would say we're averaging anywhere between low 40s to high 60s.
Okay,
But
excellent.
that's without us like really pulling and pressing the dial down.
Okay, and then how many of those are probably applications?
Those would say, I'd say 40 would be right around what we've been averaging.
So 100% conversion.
I mean, we'll get a lot of leads that don't convert, but right now we've set up the systems and processes to where when we get a lead, we're getting an application. And if we don't, it's because in reality, they're not ready to take that next step.
Okay. And then how many credit pulls did you get from these leads in the last month?
I was almost ready for the last week, but now that you're giving me the last month.
It's okay. Just give me the last week. It's all good. I can multiply it times 4.1.
Last week, we got 7 applications.
So 7 apps.
As far as like whether for pre-approval or refi. For the
Okay, cool.
for August, we've got 19.
Cool. So 19 divided by 40 is under 50%, just so you know. Okay. So I think that it's really important, right? Like, it's weird that I keep talking about anxiety, but I feel it, right? And it's normal, by the way. When we all have fear of the unknown, right? So I like to make all unknowns knowns, right? So the easiest way to make an unknown known is to track it, right? That's why Deborah is so on it. When she sent out like that email, I was like, oh my God, that's even more stuff than I track, right? Like, that's a lot of data like to pay attention to, but knowing it is really important. And I think that will help you, because when we're busy in our mind, we're distracted. Okay, when we're busy in our mind, we're distracted. So, when you came on the call, I loved it, by the way. I'm gonna share it with everyone, because I've been you 4,922 times in my career, where I'm like, oh my God, like, listen, my week's been crazy. I'm totally not prepared. Like that. I love that you shared that, but all that means is that like your mind is really busy.
Yeah.
Right? Like, my mind is really busy. You're thinking about all the stuff that could go wrong rather than the stuff that's going right and that could go right. Right? Because remember, when we think about stuff that could go wrong, the other side of that is that, well, what if it could go right? like that's pretty interesting. It's just a simple switch, right? I'm like, if it could go right, that'd be awesome. So what is your structure right now? Is it just you with no LOAs, et cetera, with 40 to 60 leads a month?
So I have spent this entire year focused on building the systems and really not marketing or prospecting. I got a junior LO in August of last year, completely brand new to the industry. He is currently my only team member. I had a LOA or a loan partner. She's no longer on the team. And so we're a little bit shorthanded based on just really, I mean, my junior knows what I have taught him and he knows it well.
And what does a junior do?
So right now he's really acting as a LOA. And so
Got it.
he's
Cool.
helping collect upfront stuff, but then also helping manage the condition chasing on the back end as well.
Okay. Does your junior LOA have a top 3 job duties?
Not as well as he should.
All right, cool. So what I think will help you tremendously is that if you sit down and go, hey, if my LOA junior, right, does just these 3 things every single day, this will help me tremendously. So every single person that works for me has a top 3 job duties. Now they have plenty of other crap that like I want them to do, but they will never, ever, ever be in trouble if all they did was those top 3 and they were busy just doing those top 3 all day. Okay, so a top 3 job duty example could be like, hey, number 1, clean up initial loan applications that come in, right? Number 2, making sure that all documents are in and there's a process for following up on those. And number 3 would be to tell me and give me the scenario when it's ready for me to make a TCA, right? That's just an example. It can be any top 3 job duties, but if we oversimplify it and we make it so clear that like this is what is really going to help me, think about the things that are frustrating you the most. Like you gave me broad strokes. You were like, I don't have enough time to keep up with capacity and what I'm already bringing in. And then you started fear casting like into the future that I need to hire another one because I'm not going to get to where I'm going, right, where I want to go. And what we have to do though is that I bet if you just took top 3 jobs, what are like the 3 things right now that I want to take off my plate or that would save me the most amount of time or that would create the least amount of anxiety for me and thought, that you might be perfectly staffed for all you know. But until you fix that first, bodies don't solve problems, process solves problems and bodies scale. Okay, process solves problems and bodies scale. So figure out first, like, what are 3 things that this person could do and that I could have them do very well, so I can reevaluate what my needs are, right, in order to hire.
That was amazing, man. Exactly what I needed. And that is 100% of the reason why I came on the call, even though I was unprepared.
No worries, man. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. We're here to help each other. Gosh darn it. So my big win and challenges, by the way, over the last week was like getting my loan officers to finish strong on this TCA a day challenge, right? And the wins were just the results were insane. Like the results were absolutely insane. I mean, Dave had said like 70% reduction in concession amount. Remember, that's not 70 basis points. It's just a 70% difference in the amount that I want to make sure that's clear because I had someone ask me like, man, you must be making millions on these guys. I'm like, no. Listen, like between 10 to 20 is 100%, right? Basis points. Like, so it's not, think in percentage and basis points, both are powerful, but we've literally had almost we had 70% on the last call. It ended up being 67% over the 4-week time frame that we tracked this. I saw productivity go up in people that were averaging like 1 TCA a week to an average of 6 a week. So that's a 600% increase, right, in activity of making a total cost analysis and sending them out and giving examples. I saw everyone's applications started in this time frame to lock ratio go up 41%, right? 41% go up. So these are all things just by creating the total cost analysis, and they're all making videos now in the total cost analysis, right? Which is like really, really one of the biggest secrets that I talk about all the time is that just do a video at all costs if you can, right? Do a video at all costs if you can. So it creates more connection, it creates more stickiness. You are a real person. You can counter 80% of the objections that you know that they're going to have, or answer questions that they're going to have in advance, right? So Tammy, what's the most common questions that you get about loans or quotes?
Now you asked me and I can't think of anything.
I'll help you.
What are your
What-
closing costs?
Yeah, there you go. What's my cash to close? What are the closing costs? Hey, how does this
Liquidate.
payment break down? Right? Am I
What are
qualified
escrows?
for more? What are escrow? Exactly, right? Like all that stuff. So why not just always answer it all, right? In our TCA videos every single time.
That's an
We
idea.
should just always be answering it in advance. So before I go to my last thing, I'd love Todd, Deborah, anything you guys want to add? I've just been rambling on here and going like a wildfire. Anything to add that you noticed or that you would like to address? Nope.
Go for it, Deborah.
I would just say, and especially with Mark, because I was the same way and still am the same way at times, try to create a system or mechanism to catch yourself on the stories that you are telling yourself, because that narrative and that self-talk, we believe those stories, and that tends to then be the result, or why we keep getting what we're getting. So just, and this took me a long time to master, but try to really catch yourself when you start to go to that moment of, max capacity and not enough time. Get to the fire and not the smoke. So I had said this in the mortgage coach community. You can either go to the root cause and isolate the issue and then have exponential growth, or keep trying to, play with the smoke and not ever get anywhere. So I would just try to be aware of some of those stories.
Agreed.
Well, and I would just shine a light on what you said, Jeremy. You said that you don't have to think because it's on your calendar, and you just do what's on your calendar. And
Yes.
one of the things I always teach is that what gets scheduled gets done. And so I loved your advice to Walt that just schedule that 30 minutes every day to do the TCAs. And I think that that's where most loan officers get caught up, is in the busyness. And if you can't schedule all whatever 7, 8, 9, 10 hours a day you're working, whatever that is, you have to have the gaps in there to, white space to be able to react. But think about what Jeremy said. He just knows what to do. And we did a site visit a little over, I guess, about a year and a half ago now with Jeremy's office, and literally everything was on his calendar. And so we just watched him do what his day was, and where he had space, his team scheduled stuff for him. And it's just, don't overthink it. It's just so easy. Make a calendar for tomorrow of what you're going to do. Put in the topics, leave spots to return calls, texts, and respond to emails, and you're going to crush your day.
100%, man. And then once you get to a full calendar of all appointments, that's when you get to put the pressure on yourself and make it a game of like, how can I call people back in between? That's the fun part for me. I love seeing a crazy full calendar. I get no anxiety from it. I'm like, oh, it's game day, baby. This is sweet. Like, how am I going to make all the calls in between the calls? Right? Like and then it becomes fun, making a game out of it. Super, super important. So, awesome, guys. So what I would love to, you guys can ask me a question, anything about TCAs, structure, team involvement, sales, whatever you want. I would love for you guys to ask me a question, and we'll wrap it up on this point. And I'm going to talk about phase 2 of the TCA a day and what I'm doing with it.
Come on, you guys should have a question first. Go for it, Mark.
I'm unmuted, so I've got questions for days that I could ask Jeremy.
Let's do
Going
it.
along with the same theme that I've got going on, what's your advice for LO that is bringing in some business but needs to stay out of the way, and yes, work on systems, but specifically when it comes to hiring and onboarding, what's your biggest piece of advice for an LO that's bringing on someone from the outside for the first time, as opposed to taking somebody on from the company that's already existed?
Love it, man. That's a great question. So when I think back to when I first started hiring LOAs, I was so bad at it. And just know that it's okay to mess up, And also know that not everyone's going to work out. Like knowing those two things in advance, I wish that someone would have told me that, right? Because like I would try to force things to work. And if they're not working, they're not working, right? Now, with that said, a lot of those early hires, it probably didn't work because of me, right? Is that we say sometimes like with loans, like crap in, crap loan out. You know what I mean? Well, it's the same thing when you're hiring someone from a process and procedure standpoint. Like if you don't have a top 3 job duties, which is why I brought it up, and I'm going to say it again and again and again, like if you don't have a really clear top 3 job duties of what you're looking this person you're going to hire to do, they are never going to understand what their expectations of what your expectations are within their role, right? So creating simple clarity is extremely important when you have a new hire. The second thing I would say is that I will take attitude and aptitude over experience 9 out of 10 times. Okay, attitude and aptitude over experience 9 out of 10 times. And I just find that it's easier to teach someone with a positive attitude that is smart how to get up and running over a 6-month time frame. Did you see what I just said, by the way? 6-month time frame, 6-month time frame, not 14 days, which is what we all think in our head, right? Is that we're going to hire someone in 14 days, they're going to be DE underwriter, right? Like it doesn't work like that. It takes about 6 months to even get a great person fully integrated into a workflow and team and be really effective. They're still going to give you lift right from the get-go, but to be really, really effective, it's going to take them at least 180 days. Okay, so being patient is extremely important. Teaching 2 things a week, right? So come up with a list of like teaching 1 to 2 things a week over a couple month time frame is really, really important. So I would say that you want to be clear on what you want the person to do. So if you're looking for 2 people, would these 2 people be doing the same job or a different job?
No, the main thing I need right now is somebody managing the contract to close side and allowing my junior to focus on the upfront and more sales activities.
Okay, so I'm going to be a walking contradiction right now and say that if you're looking to hire someone that's going to manage the contract to close, and I want to understand your process because context and reference points are everything. So you don't have like a processor that kind of pre-underwrites the file or anything right now?
Really, I am the one that is at the end of the day finalizing a pre-approval. I'm underwriting it myself. I have a
Okay.
processor that manages the processing, but they are not additionally responsible for document collecting. They process.
Can I ask just a question? I've asked myself this for 7 years. This is a little tangent, but like, what does a processor do? Like I could bring in my ops manager right now and she would laugh because I've had this conversation 400 times with her.
Don't
Like,
they do
so
all your order outs like title, appraisal, FHA case numbers, HOI
No,
binders?
they just look over what your pre-underwriter did and they just go, yep, they did it already, and then they push it through.
okay.
Our processors, our internal processors, they're able to clear some conditions now. We've got some proprietary system that will allow them to clear like W-2s and W-2s and salary income documents. They can clear it so the underwriter doesn't have to. So that's helpful, but.
Okay. So, so in your system, Mark, a processor doesn't kind of pre-underwrite a file? Do they tell you what you're missing, what you need to collect, stuff like
so
that?
our process is a little different because once we have a contract or a refi, it's going to the underwriter. And so the processor is processing the condition list to the point where they can check off some things. But at the end of the day, it either goes to a pre-clear to close review or a clear to close review prior to getting into closing.
Is
So
it direct to Fannie? Sorry, Jeremy. I just
No,
dying to know that. Does it go direct to Fannie?
I love the confusion on Jeremy's face right now.
Do you underwrite the file? Like, do you process the file whatever the DU or AUS guidelines say. So if AUS says one pay stub, then you only need one pay stub, or do you have to give them two regardless of what AUS says?
No, we go per deal.
All right, so I'm gonna be a
I'm sure
walking, I'm gonna be a walking contradiction here. If you're looking to hire someone that's gonna give you the most lift with like basically qualifying, is what it sounds like. Hire someone with a two years experience. Okay. Yeah, hire someone that has some experience processing or as an LOA or a team LO or something like that. Because if you're talking about structuring is where it's going to give you your biggest lift, that's going to
Well,
take you.
it's not necessarily structuring. I mean, like you said, like structuring and pricing, that shit is an art and a science. I am happy to delegate and give up a lot, but that is something I'm not ready to delegate and release. So really for me, it's my junior is acting as a front end helper, right? So I need them to be able to, when we've had lead conversations that haven't applied, to be following up with those and making sure that they get the applications in. For the ones that we've gotten applied, they're getting the rest of the documentation, getting them ready for their buyer consultation, setting up the mortgage coach, like Tammy was saying, up until the product page, or maybe they can even create a couple of what they think is some possible options for them. But what I'm really, and I have that right now, right? He doesn't know guidelines like the back of his hand, but he has become more and more resourceful, which I think is the biggest thing for somebody who's brand new, is just understanding that you don't know most and you just need to get to the people that know and can guide you to it. But what I really need is somebody that when we get a contract, yes, they can pre-underwrite it, even though I've already took them through the gauntlet, but then actually do the fulfillment stage, right? But do it with a customer service focus, not a operations like super high C detail person. So that's where I'm having difficulty, is I need them to be able to get stuff done and be task oriented, but I also want somebody who's going to be able to really provide that 5-star experience in the fulfillment stage.
Mm-hmm. Dude, shoot me an email. I think we can have an off, like, because I could talk to you about this for an hour. But the oversimplified answer for me is that you have to, I believe that the best workflows are broken up into front end. And I defined front end as people that are scheduling appointments from you, managing your leads so that you know exactly how many you have every single day, have a system that they're following for following up on the leads, getting the loan applications in to be reviewed, et cetera. And then it goes to a next person, which I call the back end, but that's still at pre-approval for me personally. Like you move them up just a little bit forward in the process, and then there's no more handoffs. What you don't want to create, in my opinion, there is not a right or wrong way to do this, is create a vertical sales process. Okay, where they talk to this person, then they talk to me, and then they talk to this person, and then I talk to this person, and then I talk to this person. Right? I like building a horizontal. So it's like, it's me, and then it's my LP1 right underneath me, loan officer assistant, junior, whatever you want to call them, handles all the leads, et cetera, tracks them. And then once the app comes in, I have a horizontal team of multiple people that all have the same job. Right. And then it doesn't ever leave that person, right? From a communication standpoint, that 5-star service that you're talking about. Right. And the reason why I think that that is the best workflow as well, because I've tried it the other way too, is that there's less handoffs. People don't feel tossed around. Communication is better. And then when someone is out, right, of the office, someone else that has that same job can cover extremely easily, and it's not you. Right. So when I ask, like, are you looking for someone to have the same job or a different job? I'm actually a fan of same job. Like same job. Right. And then just splitting up leads. Like if you get 60 leads a month, you get 30, you get 30. Right. And there's one point of contact outside of you. So we can sidebar that and talk about it more. If you want, just shoot me an email. I'm super passionate about it, so happy to go over it more with you. But I think I could definitely help with you for sure.
I'm 100% going to take you up on that. And given what we've talked about, I wanted to put more pressure on myself. I got a ticket to see Renee, to see you. And so I will meet you on Thursday and look forward to seeing everybody there.
Sick with it. Walt, you got a question? I'm going to keep going. I know it's 12:01.
Just my question was, going back to the perfect client, my what was that? My biggest success. So how would you treat a client that says the TCA is stupid and doesn't is just stupid and
Is this real? So someone said the
refuses-
TCA is stupid.
refuses to review it, and he's a high C.
So says TCA is stupid.
Yep.
Like that's literally what they said.
Stupidest thing he ever saw.
Wow.
That your
So
client?
could be. I wouldn't give up on that, bro. I'm serious. So here's what I would do, right? Is that I would say, hey, not a problem. When is a good time to connect? And I can go over all the numbers with you. And then I would just do it live. I would do a TCA shared live. Hey, do you have the link in front of you? I want to walk you through this so I make sure you can 100% understand with all the clarity. And then make them look at the stupid thing.
So you do that.
Yeah.
And then he's asking more questions on different strategies. So then you create another TCA, send it to him. Refuses to review it. You then try to connect with
don't
them.
Don't send him another TCA if he doesn't want one, bro. Some people just want you to tell him what to do.
I told him what to do. So this was one of my clients that literally we did a loan for last year. He came back for a second loan, and I just told him that we couldn't serve him, to his level. So
That's
he
fine.
frustrated my
Yeah.
team, everything else. So I just wanted to know what your opinion of that was.
My opinion is always I give it a second shot no matter what they say. And then if they still don't want to follow a process, right? And I just tell them what to do and they still don't want to do it, then you just can it.
Yep. Perfect.
Absolutely. Like you can't go to a Mercedes-Benz dealership and keep asking to test drive the Civic. Okay. Like it doesn't work. So like after the second try of trying to get him to try the Benz, if they don't want to, then they should go somewhere else. Yeah, I agree.
Perfect.
Cool. But try the live usually solves that for me. When I get a question of like, hey, I can't understand all this. It's not clear. Can you send me a GFE? Which just happens sometimes, right? It's just because they're lazy and they don't want to watch the video that literally I made that walks them through everything. I will say, hey, no problem. Let's get on the phone and make sure you're in front of a computer because I want to walk you through the GFE. Now, I don't pull up the GFE. I pull up the TCA. Right. And then I walk them through it and it solves it 9 out of 10 times. But if that's that one guy, get rid of him. It's no good. Cool. Tammy, final question.
This is a loaded question. So
Sweet.
I know that there's not an easy answer for this, but I'm really great at following up with my loans and giving everybody that great experience. But I find that I get to a point where I'm just collecting leads and names. And I haven't been able to find a system to track my leads, track them into pre-approvals. And thanks to Deborah's like crazy numbers. I mean, I have to keep track of my numbers and this is a lot more than I'm used to, but it was great because I realized that I don't really have a good system for following up with leads or pre-approvals. And I've seen some stuff and I've tried some different stuff, but I can't seem to find something that works.
Cool. So it is an easy question, actually, not a loaded question. So all systems work if you use the system. Okay. So you have to pick a path first and foremost, right? So for me personally, right, like I have a CRM. I hope we all do, by the way. I have a CRM and leads go in there, right? And they're categorized as like new prospect. That means it's not converted yet, right? Keep it super, super simple. Now I also keep an Excel sheet separate from that because I'm weird that way and I like checks and balances, right? That's manual, that's once a month. One sheet a month, one Excel sheet per month, right? Then I have a meeting once a week where I'm going over the leads for month to date and the previous month's leads, and I'm updating them, right, with colors. Yellow is pre-approved, green is a deal in contract, red is dead, couldn't qualify them or didn't want to use me. White is we still haven't connected with them yet, etc. And I just create a really simple system for myself. So then I know who I need to follow up with on a weekly basis. I know where everyone is at, and then the conversion is extremely easy to calculate from there. Right? It's really,
Okay.
really, really, really easy. Like if you want, I could just show you what it looks like real quick as we wrap this thing up. Todd and Deborah, do you guys have anything to add? Closing thoughts while I do this?
You know, I think you continue to crush it. I love your questioning. I think for any of you who are a loan officer, you should be thinking about all the questions that Jeremy asked and how would you answer them if you were on this call and in the hot seat. And then I think if you're a leader, you should be thinking about why am I not asking these questions of my team members? I just think it's really critical. And I just super grateful, Jeremy, for you taking the time to walk us all through it.
Yeah, of course. My pleasure.
You know, Mark, I have to give you a shout out because you had mentioned on one of these calls, I'm surprised no one mentioned HomeBot. And after you said that, I was like, that's a good point. Why am I not? HomeBot integrates directly with Mortgage Coach. So what I have started doing because of what you said was I go into HomeBot and now I update HomeBot with the stuff. And then it says, do you want to print a TCA? Yes, I do. And it'll do half the work for you. It'll put the programs in there and everything for you. So now I started doing that for the TCA a day, my unsolicited ones. And I just got to give you a shout out for that because that was why am I not doing this great idea? So thanks for that.
So I'm going to keep scrolling like this real quick because I always get someone on these videos that are like, did you know that you showed everyone's phone number? It always happens every time I do shit like this. This is my live one, right? So this is July. Red is dead, didn't qualify, etc. Yellow is pre-approved, not in contract yet. Green is live deal. And you can see if you go through it once a week, you just know who's dead, who's alive, how is it going? And then it calculates my conversion rate at the bottom. Now this one's not done yet because it was just last month and we wait 2 months to calculate that. So let me.
So you're the one filling this out?
No, I did though at one
I
point in
used to.
time.
I don't fill them out either anymore. But I like the idea of what you're saying. So a once a week meeting. So I need to meet with my LP1 and she
Or with
realizes,
yourself.
or myself, I
Yeah.
could take myself out to lunch.
Right.
Go
You
out.
deserve it, girl. Treat
Figure out
yourself.
these numbers.
So then you can see here that like at the bottom, and I have all the different categories. You can get as nerdy on it as you want. How many realtor leads did I get in that month? How many were current client referrals? How many were past clients, etc. And then I just divide by the number of transactions, which is either a pre-approval, okay, or green live deal. And then you come up with your closing percentage, right?
Yeah.
On like how that works compared to the amount of leads.
I love numbers and I love math, but I'm just not good at keeping track of this stuff.
Right.
Hey,
Have
Tammy,
someone
didn't you show us your win by noon planner? It's actually built into that.
I was,
That's what-
yeah, thank you.
That's what I was about to
Said you just
say,
got it. Let's
Todd.
start using it.
I
Yeah.
was literally about to say that because guys, what I love about this planner is one, it gives you weekly goals. So I think it's important when you start your week, how many partner calls, what's the goal, how many lead calls, how many quality conversations, live meetings. Hey, guess what? It says TCAs and annual reviews. Okay. But then at the end of the week, it says, all right, these were your goals. Now, what were the results? So that's every week. And also, by the way, each day it allows you to track your leads. So a system very similar to what Jeremy's doing. What I used to do with my planners, I used to take the first week of the last month and I wouldn't duplicate, I would just go back to my notes and I would use my planner. I mean, this was my Bible, guys.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the month, that's where it allows you to track conversion. So I'm telling you that Todd needs to increase his prices and you guys all need to go get a subscription for this, but then also buy it for your real estate agents. Because I would also have my agents do the real estate planner. And when we would meet once a month to do our business mastermind and go over our business, so not just in the business, but on the business, it was like, all right, accountability time, open it up, let's go.
Awesome.
So,
Well, listen,
I love
you guys
it.
are all doing great. I'll leave you with this because I'm already 10 minutes late to my 12 o'clock appointment. But I love this group so much that I didn't want to leave you short with what I had planned. So remember these 3 things, right? The 3 G's, like have gratitude, right? Have gratitude that we get to do all of this, right? Have grace for other people that you're working with, your loan partners, your juniors, your customers. Have a little bit of grace with them, right? Not everyone moves the same way that we do. And then the third one is be generous. Be generous with your information. That's why TCA Day is so important. Be generous with what the knowledge that you have to offer in the secret sauces. So if we can just focus on those 3 G's, gratitude, grace, and generosity, it's going to make everything a whole lot easier for us. So I really appreciate you, Deborah, Todd. Thank you for being on. Thank you guys for being on the accountability group. If there's anything else I can do, just let me know. Okay.
Awesome. You crushed it, Jeremy. Thanks everyone. See
you guys next week
in Vegas.
Thanks, guys.